when I'm asked to evaluate something like g of -4, all this is telling me to do or asking me to do is replace x with -4 and work out until I get a value. So I'm actually going to start with the second problem this time and see what happens. So I'm going to replace all the x's with -4's, and technically I even replace this first one. So I'm going to write g of -4. Now that's just a notation. It does not mean g times -4. And then equals 5. Again, x is equal to -4 plus 8. And really, this part I don't even need to worry about. It's just kind of there as a notation. All I want to work out is this right-hand side of the problem. So just following some order of operations would lead me to, well, -20 plus 8. I add those together and get -12. -12 is the answer, although I'd prefer if you could write it the whole thing out. So I'm going to say g of -4 equals -12, and really that's it. Some people try to divide both sides by -4 because they think it's multiplication, but remember, this is just a notation. The reason I like to write the whole thing out is because it helps me identify my domain and range. The number we replaced x with was my domain. That's my input. So this shows me my domain was -4. The answer I got out represents my output, my range. So that's all this problem is asking you to do. Same thing can be done for this first problem. I'm going to replace all the x's with -4's. So g of -4, which you don't really need to write that part down, but I'd like it if you could, is equal to, and then be really careful when you replace these x's with -4. So I've got negative and then -4 squared, minus 2 times -4, and then plus 7. Be really careful if you're working this problem out with order of operations. This first piece is actually going to work out to be a -16, and then a plus 8, and then a plus 7. If I finish this problem, I can see that I get just -1, which works out okay. I mean, that's not hard to do, and I guess if I want to follow my own advice, I'm going to write it like that. G of -4 equals -1. But let me show you a different way to do this problem using the table feature on your calculator. So if you've got your graphing calculators, get those ready. I'm going to switch over to my graphing calculator and show you how a really easy way to get this value using your table. Alright, I promised you an easy way to do this problem using your calculator, so here we go. I want to evaluate, we're going to stick with this one. I want to evaluate this function. I want to find g of -4. And so what I've done is I've gone to y equals, like I'm going to graph this, and I've entered in the equation right there. Instead of graphing it though, what I want you to do is go to your table, so hit second graph. Second graph, there we go. And you'll see your table of values. Now the easy way to do this, since x is -4, our input, our domain is -4, all I need you to do is scroll up, find where x is equal to -4, read what the output is, the range, oops, I skipped a little too far, and there we go. When we plug in -4, we get -1 as our answer, or g of -4 is equal to -1. Cool trick, isn't it? Go ahead and use that, it'll save you a lot of time for some of these evaluate questions.